Good morning. This is Sweetie Berry with the Women of Dear Whimsy. Between Us Girls is a weekly event here at Google Hangouts where the Women of Dear Whimsy, a community for gifted and clever women, come together to discuss processes of being gifted or creative in their adult lives. This morning, we're thrilled to have Edith Johnston, who's with us today, and she's going to talk to us and share with us perspectives of thinking and how to put our smarts to use for us. Making the most of being smart, this program is going to be a fun one. We're all going to be changing out hats of the way we think and the way we look. And as you see today, I've got on my green hat ready to go and several others waiting. And I welcome you to today's show. Good morning, Dr. Edith. We're glad to see you this morning and anxious to learn the lessons. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, as Sweetie was saying, I'm Edith Johnston, and I'm a counselor and a coach, and I'm here for the fun of it today to figure out women making the most of being smart. So we get a lot together when we start thinking, and that includes our emotions and our information and our logic and our new ideas and our creativity and all that's going on in our little heads. And so sometimes it's difficult to sort things out. And so if we're smart and we want to think about being smart, let's sort it out a little bit. And to do that, we're going to use DeBono's thinking hats. And so we have 6 different hats, and I want you to understand that the white hat here, that's about neutral, being objective, and that's the facts, my friend, my facts. Then we have the red hat, and there we're talking about emotions and anger and excitement and sadness and exuberance and the whole spectrum. Whereas with the black hat, we're talking about somberness and seriousness and cautious. And it also points out the weakness of the situations. And here's the black hat. Okay, and so then we're looking at the yellow hat here. And the yellow hat is about sunny and positive, optimistic, and being hopeful. Then we have a green hat, and that's about abundance, growth, creativity, new ideas. And then we have the blue hat here in the corner, and that's about being calm, cool, and collected. It oversees everything. It organizes it all. And the blue hat then is responsible for using all of these hats. So keep in mind, and as us ladies are doing, put your hat on for today. Here we are, the women of Dare Whimsy, and we're smart, we're intelligent, we're talented, we have exuberance, and we're full of life. And we're women being smart. And it's more acceptable now and expected that we can be smart women, put those two together. However, there's times when we get lots of mixed messages, whether those mixed messages be about we're too smart for our own good, mixed messages about us being in science or in math or engineering or dance or whatever. And then we also have that mixed message about having families and we're supposed to be at home. And we look at being smart Alex and being too smart for our own good, or we're in the man's world and what do we think we're doing there. This goes on and on and on about these mixed messages. So take a second now. Did you have a reaction when I was reading that off? Did we get your dander up a little bit? Did you have an emotion? Did you decide that that wasn't factual? What is it? So let's take a look at that for a second. Get a situation in mind, each of you now, and all of you out there watching us, a situation where you responded to mixed messages about being smart and making the most of being smart. What would the white hat say? What are the facts? Who was involved at that situation? What could you assess about that situation? How were the others reacting? What did you hear? Now, not just the words, but what were you listening? What was really being said? You got those facts? Okay, put your red hat on. What kind of an emotion did you have? Did you get a little irate? Were you really taken aback? Were you scared? What was the emotion you experienced in that situation? The black hat. Now let's be cautious. Were we looking at that whole situation from our best interest? Did we think it through a little bit? Did we find the weaknesses in how we were looking at it? Yellow hat. What were the positive outcomes? What were the possibilities with it? Or the green hat in that situation. What new idea? What things could you develop from it? And then the blue hat. That's putting all of that together and thinking, okay, that situation created that kind of a mixed message, but what can come out of it? How can I approach it? What can I learn? So now I want to ask each of our Dare Whimsy ladies here to briefly describe a situation and then pick a hat and describe that situation from that hat. Okay. Ashley, would you like to start for us? That was a good emotional reaction. What's a situation where you've got a mixed message from being smart and showing that you're smart?
Oh, such a good question. Overly analyzing things. Being overly philosophical or wanting to solve a problem for someone else and not being on the same page. So I would use a yellow hat, and from the perspective of a yellow hat, I might say, well, we're not on the same page. That's okay. It doesn't have to ruin my day. I can continue along with this energy and continue along taking actions and allow them their space to be whatever they need to be, and not take it too personally.
All right. And that way you can look at the positive sides of it. Hey, Gail, what situation would you give us, and what hat would you wear when you looked at it?
Well, not too long ago, I was presented with an opportunity. I'd say it was maybe around the first of the year, and immediately I put on my black hat because I was cautious. And, you know, that little feeling that maybe this was too good to be true. So I wore my black hat for a while and just watched. And it turns out just the other day I found out I was right. It was too good to be true. So that black hat kept me cautious throughout the whole time that I was kind of sitting back and investigating, seeing what this was really all about. A good thing.
So that helps our perspective a whole lot when we look at things. So we looked at the facts of it, and you found out the cautious response ended up being an approach that was informative. So the blue hat came in, so you could put it all together. All right, Martina, what kind of a situation would you give us, and what hat would you wear?
Well, my hat would almost always be black. I've had several situations from starting in high school and throughout the rest of my life going into organizations to try to sort out what's going on and what the dynamics are. And yes, as a black hat wearer, you know, I do look at the weaknesses, but I also switch to the white hat to put the facts with that, and then it would go to green to find a creative solution.
All right, so we're going through, again, by sorting out those perspectives. We don't rush in. We don't just assume what's going on. We don't react without thinking, and then we try to clarify our thinking. So that's cautious with that black hat, and effective with getting the facts with the white one and bringing the blue one together. Sweetie, what kind of a situation would you give us, and what hat would you wear?
My world is almost always about problem solving or creating. And so I almost am always looking at things through a creative hat or how to solve it hat, which tends to be energy, and it tends to be, yes, there is an answer and we can find it, or an abundance of thinking. Unlike some of the black hat or the more concerning hats, I don't line out the perils first or the concerns first. I line out the possibilities first. And you know, this can sometimes be a great gift when you walk into the door, that if you're around a hat table that has every other color of hat on, they're very cautious and very non-trusting often of a solution set being solvable, because they are looking at the problem, not at the solution.
Yeah, and so they're looking at their perspective of being really cautious with the black hat, or they're looking at it from the white hat. Well, the facts say this, and not being able to open up to those possibilities and that creativity, and then to bring it together under our blue hat. So let's come back here to a minute, and let's look a little bit further. I'll discuss some things about our abilities, because we're wanting to be women that are smart and making the most of being smart. And so, do we really realize and accept our brilliance? Do we understand and respect our abilities? We've all accomplished many things, and we need to look at this and accept that that's significant achievements. We are smart women, and we can make the most of us being smart. However, we're also sensitive. We have different things where we want to find out about the injustices of the world. We want to respond to the sounds and the aromas in our environments around us. And many times we feel like we don't fit in. We have curiosity. We have playfulness. We seek out ultimate truths. We're smart women, and all these things is how we expose and experience our environment. We're driven by our passions and our values. And we need to consciously recognize and acknowledge both of those. However, our beliefs about ourselves can get in the way at times. And the world around us and what their expectations of us are and our expectations of ourselves can get in the way also. So being able to accept and recognize our abilities and how we work and who we are is really, really important. So if we were going to do that, how smart are we? And in what areas are we smart? Let's take a look at that, because we need to understand that and honor those in many ways. And we'll get really confused with our emotions and our different belief systems. I want us to look at each of our talents and being able to go from just saying, oh yeah, this comes easy for me, to the fact that we can make the most of them. That may be mastery. That may be putting them in sequence. We're not trying to be perfection, because that can get in the way too. But we want to be able to say, yes, I am smart, not in an arrogant way, but in the fact that it's a fact. That's the white hat. It's a fact. We are smart. We have abilities. We have things that we can do and say and get out there. Can we be emotional about it? That's where the passions come in. Yes, we can be highly emotional about it. That's our red hat. And that's who we are. That's part of us being who we are. Then if we look at our black hat, we can be cautious, and we are many a times, because, we don't fit in. Somebody else is going to say something. That's where our sensitivities are coming in. We're being really cautious. But as Gail was saying earlier, there's other ways to be cautious, and that's part of our smartness. That's part of our intelligence, to be cautious and exploring, because we can see the big picture. We can see how things connect. And then the yellow hat, we can be very exuberant, very playful, and we see Ashley playing all the time when she makes her books and does different things. And that's exciting, to express our gifts with full feeling and full emotions and have fun doing it is important also. Getting new ideas, being able to share those ideas. That's what Sweetie does all the time. And that's exuberant. That's the way to be able to express ourselves from the positive in the yellow hat perspective. And the green hat, all these ladies here and all you ladies out there too have wonderful ideas. That's how you make things work on a day in and a day out basis. So let's honor our abilities and look at how we're doing and make these all come together under that blue hat so we can look at it. So now I would like each one of these ladies here to describe their abilities and what hat they enjoy working under at different times. So, but first you need to let us know what is your abilities and your talents, because voicing it is a way of saying, I am, and it's okay, and I'm going to make the most of being smart. Gail, shall we start with you at the moment? What's your abilities? And under the hats, how would you express that to us?
One of my abilities is bringing women together to connect and share their gifts And that's under, I would think, the yellow hat, because that's the passionate one, right? I'm very passionate about that. I can get excited about that, talk about it, draw pictures about it. I'm making a collage right now about that. And it's so fun because I really can get passionate about that. The yellow hat, maybe, right? Bringing it all together. So that's what I love to do. That's my passion.
All right. Okay, Martina, what's your abilities and talents? And I know you have many of them. You could put on probably 10 hats just for those.
Oh, hardly. I am smart. It has taken a long time for me to be able to say that out loud and accept it and not, kind of push it off as, well, everybody's smart and everybody's got gifts. Someone in the group convinced me a couple of years ago that I actually was a writer. So I'm pursuing that. I am an artist. And most of these things I never ever say out loud. And there are many other hobbies and talents that I've explored. Because I really do think we're all Renaissance kind of people, but I've found that interesting things have come easy to me, like pottery and some other things that I would not have expected. So pulling it all together, I'm with Gail. It's under the yellow hat. I usually wear black, not just for this particular hangout, but I usually wear black, which is a somber color. But as some of you know, there's a little sunshine inside, but it's a well-guarded secret.
All right. And I think that's part of us making the most of being smart, is to be willing to show and share ourselves with all these different hats on. And that each aspect of this is okay for us also, as well as being able to wear the multiple talents that we have. Sweetie, what are some of your talents and which hat do you see yourself working from?
As I said, I'm a creative, and so as a creative, I guess I have learned that I have to wear a lot of hats, because a creative needs to be able to reflect back to the person their vision of what they're seeing. And so in some ways, I think creatives become the chameleon. They have to learn to be able to be, if they're a sunny disposition, I wake up happy every day, I wake up with high energy, I wake up with 100,000 ideas of what can be done to solve an issue or to create something new. But as a creative, I've learned that I need to be able to match the tempo and pace of who's before me. And I am definitely a problem solver. That's a really high value for me. So that white hat of bringing it all together and reflecting back what something is in the possibilities and the actualities, whether it's budget or time constraints or whatever, is important to me. So I love to say the creative likes to wear the rainbow hat, because she has to grab it continually, whether it's energy or whether it's ideas or whether it's budget lines or timelines or organization. A strategist, which is what I do in adult life, is I work with strategies, whether it's educational strategies or with small businesses. It's learning to use that rainbow, and it's learning to really go deeply into the space of each hat at appropriate times, and that's, I think, what we all try to do to facilitate success in our lives and others' lives.
Well, thanks, sweetie. Yeah, that rainbow hat is really important, and being able to, that's the purpose of breaking it out and putting it back together. So by looking at each hat's aspect as we solve problems or we experience life or inexperience things, we need to bring those multicolors and multi-perspectives into view here and look at it. And the biggest thing sometimes I think about being smart and making the most of it is that we need to utilize those smarts to be able to bring the rainbow together, but with the blue idea of that it's organized and that it has. Yeah, we can be messy, and Ashley, we'll get to you about the messy, okay? But we can be organized with that blue hat and express us. We can't, I don't think it's behooves us and benefits us to be making the most of our smarts by using our sensitivities and the way we experience life in this vast, expansive way as an excuse for not having the opportunity to bring it together from each of these perspectives. So as being smart, to make the most of the being smart, you got to use those smarts a little bit. So Ashley, what kind of talents do you have and abilities, and in what way would you express it under the different hats?
I really like what Sweetie said about the rainbow hats. And, you know, when I think of colors, I think White is reflective. It protects you from the sun. Black is inclusive. It has every color in the rainbow. And then, you know, the whole color spectrum. So I'm a graphic designer, illustrator, communicator, storyteller, and I look to bring out the best in whatever project I'm working on. So utilizing all of the colors is essential in not only creating awareness for whomever I'm speaking with, but creating new opportunities for ideas that I didn't know existed in the beginning of the conversation.
All right, so that we bring them together, you expose different ideas and make things happen. And that's part of what we're looking at today. Women making the most of being smart. So we have the intelligence, we have the brilliance, we have the talents and things like that. But we also have, and we have the passions and the exuberance. And yet at the same time we have that not fitting in. Is this the correct thing to say? Am I too much? And we get those messages and expectations from other people as well as from ourselves because we've either integrated it or decided that's the only way we can survive. And so today, with being able to put on the different hats, we want to break things down, sort it out, and then bring it all back together with the rainbow hat, with the blue hat organizing it, with the black hat being cautious. And when we're in different situations, if we take those seconds, and even if we can just visualize all 6 hats, that breath, that moment, that pause, then gives us the opportunity to say, okay, I'm a smart woman, and I'm going to make the most of this moment, utilizing my talents and abilities to say, here I am, and here's what I can contribute to the world. And when we look at contributions, that's an individual one. So don't think it has to be the Empire State Building or the Mona Lisa. Your contribution by being a smart woman and making the most of it is really what's most important. So, sweetie, why don't you come back and just wrap us up and bring us back to what Dare Whimsy is all about?
Great. Thank you, Dr. Edith. You know, it's so important as a gifted and creative woman to take some time to think about how we're thinking, because our thinking, what's between our ears, really affects everything about how we experience the world. So often, gifted thinkers are in isolation or they are used to working independently. And part of that is comfort zone. It's easy to think the way you think without integration with other people. This is also one of the strongest components of problems in the work environment and in the employment environment, in the school environment. We need to be able to understand how others communicate as well as how to communicate to others. I love the concept of your hats and the ways we think and the way people approach thinking. And, you know, the objects of why we think a certain way may come through experience. When we experience certain things, we can have a new perspective. I know that as working with performing artists and with authors and speakers, very often they don't have value for a certain perspective until they've had experience of 2 or 3 or 30 performances. And at other times, small towns where we visit or are looking at new opportunities for their gifted education can only see concerns for freedom of leaving a classroom desk or students standing up in their space or productively doing work anyway but a way that was traditionally done. You know, these hats allowing us to identify that, gee, we're going to deal with the concern or the caution or the organization in our communication skills, whether it be verbal or whether it be organizational or what we put on paper visually for people to understand, can really open new doors and new pathways for all of us to go forward. Dare Whimsy is a place online, darewhimsy.com, where creative and gifted women are invited to release, restore, and relax into being themselves. And we hope to provide tools for women and moms and girls and teenagers and children to be able to deal with and communicate some of the issues and adventures of being gifted. You know, it is a different animal to be a gifted thinker, to be a high creative thinker, and to find community online, to find community in a place where other women are just like you and living lives in a very different place with maybe different experiences and exposures is a really fun thing to do. Each Thursday, the Women of Dare Whimsy, which may be the ladies you've visited with today, or it may be others of our team, come in and provide answers to a topic. This week, it was about the different hats and the different ways that we approach things. But each week there's a different topic that we discuss during Between Us Girls on Wednesday, and that's a live stream event that you're seeing right now. It's also later cataloged on the website, so you can see it at a time convenient for you. But we add in we call it a sister post, a short writing about how we use that skill or how we've solved that dilemma or how we've created that fun in our lives, as well as we link back to our own private websites and personal blogs and adventures and events and offerings that we have as people. Because you see, somebody in this group you're going to resonate with, or we're going to resonate with you. And through your comments, we've learned about so many of you, and we've enjoyed getting to know you. And we share those conversations together on Thursdays on the blog. We hope that you'll join us on Facebook at facebook.com/darewhimsy. That's DAREWHIMSY. And throughout the week, we share gifted resources, whether it's on parenting or whether it's on doing a piece of art or whether it's on learning how to handle communications or difficulties of things that we face, like boredom or perfectionism as a gifted woman. It's a great place to come and share articles. It's a great place to share conversation about how to deal with schools or how to deal with workplace environments. We just want it to be a place where gifted and creative women can come to release their fears and to release the need to be in isolation and to restore a sense of mirth and laughter and fun and joy in their life and to relax into being themselves. We value your presence here each week, and we love your comments on the blog and on the website. We hope that you will spend some time with us. We have about 3 minutes left. I'm going to do some popcorn and let each person tell you their name again, where their website is, and what their primary focus is, either as a writer or professional or blogger. And I'll begin that with Dr. Edith Johnston. We thank you so much for being our presenter today.
Oh, thank you. I'm Dr. Edith Johnston. You can find me at howtoinlife.com and also on Facebook at How to in Life with Edith Johnston. My focus is helping those that have gifts and talents and abilities and don't live up to their potential and they're missing in action so that they can be all that they want to be at this moment with all their talents. Martina.
I am Dr. Martina McGowan. I can be found at martinamcgowan.com. My primary focus on the website is personal development and helping people make the next step in life, trying to make the next decision to continue to move forward. Ashley.
Howdy, thank you. My name is Ashley Alico. I am a graphic designer, illustrator, and I love teaching book arts. Books are amazing creatures in and of themselves. Whether it's a journal or an artist book, you can rely on me to show you how to make it. And the best way to contact me for online classes and in-person classes is classeswithashley@gmail.com. Thank you. And Gail.
I'm Gail Roddy. I'm a speaker, writer, author, and most recently in the last year, a playwright. I've written a play called Calling All Mothers to the Well, and it has grown into calling girls to the well, calling young marrieds to the well. I am calling all women at each stages of life to come together to share their vocal stories. And so my primary focus is presenting a play, Calling All Mothers to the Well, in home theater and in classrooms and wherever girls and women gather. You can find me at gailroddy.com. I blog each week, and you can check out the things that I do there. Thank you.
Thanks so much, ladies. And my name is Sweetie Berry, and I'm a creative who works with other creatives on the messy parts of brilliance. I'm a strategist who works with on and offline marketing media as well as product development. One of the things that I love is that I have the position of facilitator and educator with lots of gifted women, whether they're gifted education students in public schools and private schools, parochial schools, or whether it's working with gifted teams in different brands and national programs. What I love to do is cultivate projects that empower people. We hope that Dear Whimsy will be a project that empowers you to live a life you'll love and to join us each week and be part of our community. Thank you so much for coming today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to visit us on the blog at darewhimsy.com tomorrow for a wrap-up and personal view of this conversation. Thanks again to Dr. Edith Johnston of How to in Life Consultants. or howtoinlife.com. We hope you'll visit her on the web. Thanks for coming.